Hey folks, this is Kirk Smith with ICHE talking about HB2827. Many of you know by now that a Second Amendment has been added to this bill, and basically it takes a different direction. It's still a terrible bill, but it takes a little bit different approach. The main difference that I see it is taking away the criminal consequences if you do not fill out the declaration form. Initially, it was you'd get $500 fine and 30 days in jail. Well, that's been taken out. There are still some potential criminal consequences. We'll talk about that just momentarily. The bill is still a very, very bad bill. Now, what we think we know right now, folks, it's been a wild, wild afternoon. I've heard so many different thoughts about what was going to happen next. Here's what I think is going to happen. I've talked about 5 different sources. They're not intersected, and I'm hearing the same thing consistently. So here's what I think is going to happen. This bill, the amendment, is going to be sent back to the Educational Policy Committee and will be voted on there once again. That's why, number one, we need to get witness slips. As soon as they become available, this bill, the amendment has been filed but not posted. They're kind of waiting until the last second once again. We want to get the witness slips filed as fast as we can. Again, I think this is a strategy to wait until the last possible second so they're not having 45 or 50,000 witness slips again, but we can still do that, folks. So you will fill out witness slips. When will this committee meeting meet? Well, we have talked with Ms. Mussman, who's the chair of the Educational Policy Committee, and what she has told us, and to this point her words have all been accurate, she's going to have 2 different meetings. The one tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, will be on other issues. The second meeting, which will be either Thursday and or Friday, will be when they talk about HB2827. So, according to her, will probably be either Thursday or Friday hearing this amendment. And at that time, the committee can either kill it right there or pass it on to the House floor. Again, about a third of the committee members are already sponsors of the bill. So we anticipate it being passed, but it's receiving a lot of criticism on a national level. Every day, more and more resistance gains on this bill. And I don't think the new amendment is going to help it any at all. So what to do? Fill out witness slips when the link becomes available. Number 2, once again, call your representatives and say, hey, I know there's been a new Amendment 2 added to this bill. As we've seen it, it's still a bad bill. It is still a bad bill, and I'll tell you why in just a second for your talking points. And then third, folks, keep on praying. God's brought all of us together. We've worked really well as a homeschooling family, though we homeschool differently. We're all together on the legislation. So thank you so much for your work. So what's wrong with this bill? Well, like I said, it takes away the criminality of not filling out the declaration form. But if a truant officer is sent to your house, maybe a neighbor drives by at 1 in the afternoon, your kids are out having recess, he thinks they're not being educated. And so he can call the school, they can send over a truant officer. And that truant officer, if he thinks it's necessary, he has the power to take your family to the state's attorney and charge you with criminal charges. One man who may already have a bias against homeschooling, and a few of the truant officers that I've heard of, some of the things they've said are very, very, very concerning. So you could still suffer criminal consequences from this bill. Also, this is from Section 30. It says that a homeschool student is not truant if and only if a homeschool notification form was submitted. So if you didn't get your form submitted and a truant officer is called, immediately you're truant. And then you'll have to have certain consequences with that. Also, if you withdraw your kids in the middle of the year, you only get 3 days to get these forms to the proper authorities. And if you don't, you'll be considered truant once again. That's not much time when you're trying to get your kids out and get new schooling started. Section 20 with the notification form says this, and I quote, the notification form may include, not will, but may, it's possible, this is a gateway bill, open up doors for the future. The notification form may include any curriculum purchased or used for the homeschool. Why do we need to report that on our declaration form? Well, some lawyers look at this word and think it opens up the door to some level of supervision by the public school system over your curriculum. The traditional brick and mortar schools have not been exempted. They will still have to submit the names of children, private addresses, parents' information as well. The only thing that it really has done, it has minimized the time when they have to get this in. It's not going to be annually now. Everything else, everybody has to have a GED or high school diploma. None of that has changed. A lot of this bill is just a rewording of the same thing. Here's something that really is concerning. On page 40 of Amendment 2, there's new language. And it says the truant officer or county truant officer notified of a homeschool in violation of Section 30 of the Homeschool Act shall meet with the child or children complained of and make an initial determination. So this officer could come in and expect or demand to meet with each of your private kid, your minor kids privately. I mean, think about that. If you have an 8-year-old, what would an 8-year-old say innocently? If this truant officer has an anti-homeschooling bias, which is very possible, he can ask questions in such a way that would meet what he wants to have the end of. So that is highly concerning with me. And this is not DCFS, so they can be called in as well. This is the truant officer himself. Now, once again, as I stated in this bullet point, there's no evidence that homeschoolers abuse their kids at any higher levels than anybody else does. This is just an assumption. There's no statistics for this at all. The CRHE, the group that's kind of pushing this from the sidelines, they just picked and choose articles over the last 20 years. They have not done official studies like Brian Ray has, who says even though homeschooling numbers are exploding, the rates of incidence of abuse are going down. And folks, this is being touted as, promoted as, help stop abuse. This bill will not stop abuse. If you remember the ProPublica article that started this a year ago, they gave 2 examples of kids who had been abused by quote-unquote homeschooling parents, which is a very loose definition. They didn't say, or I guess they did say in the article, that DCFS was already involved. If these kids, even if they would have been registered, it wouldn't have changed a thing because they were already in the system. And not only that, I think this bill will actually increase vulnerability of the most vulnerable. Only today I had a homeschool mom call me. They've been a faithful foster care family, and they've turned their license in today. They said, we don't even want to take a chance with this. And they said there's 12 more families that are going to do that as well if this bill passes. So what's going to happen with this bill from these sponsors, it's going to make the abused kids even more vulnerable for abuse. This is a terrible bill. And finally, it kind of redefines what homeschooling is. It limits it to a student's home environment. So what do you do with co-ops, support groups, those groups that meets maybe on Friday and then homeschool throughout the week? There's language here that is just very concerning. So again, you need to communicate with your rep. This is still a bad bill, even with the amendment. Hopefully you can share some of these points that I just shared with you. So folks, again, we want to fill out witness slips when they come available. Want you to call your rep, say Amendment 2 is still a terrible bill. And number 3, keep on praying. So we'll be seeing you at Springfield, probably most likely Thursday. It can still be brought up tomorrow. It can be slid in. But thus far, the chairman has been worked out of integrity and given us the time frame. If you can come down for the vote again on Thursday and or Friday, that would be great as well. It'd be nice to see the gallery in the house filled up with homeschoolers to put pressure to remind these representatives we're serious about our homeschooling rights. So God bless you. Thanks for all you're doing. I hope this answers some of your questions to the best of our ability. If anything changes, we'll be sure to let you know. And this is Kirk Smith with the Illinois Christian Home Educators.